Stan Films Official is a YouTube channel that live streams drone exploration footage. Stan flies his drone to remote locations, searching for interesting and abandoned places. He's captured some unusual things on camera over the years, but in this particular live stream, he flies his drone to an old abandoned mine. The mine is located deep in a steep valley, almost impossible to reach by foot and miles from the nearest town. According to local legend, miners who worked there years ago reported seeing a woman in white wandering the area. People say her spirit haunts the mine, appearing and disappearing without a trace. Stan knows the stories, but he's mainly interested in getting aerial footage of the remote location, so he flies his drone over the mine, and what he captures left him lost for words.
Ojalá que señal no se va. Mucho que tal encontramos pistacón. Pistán. Avanzamos ahí.
Sigue cerrando.
De bajar puedo bajar, pero señal se puede quitar.
No bajes.
As the drone hovers above the valley, something white appears at the very bottom. It looks like the figure of a woman in a long white dress. Whatever it is visible for a second, then it vanishes into thin air. Stan doesn't notice anything at the time, but eagle-eyed viewers watching this live stream catch it immediately. Many think that this figure is the ghost of the woman in white that is said to haunt the old mine, and most viewers believe that because this was recorded during a live broadcast, it's even more convincing. So was it the woman in white the miners spoke about all those years ago? Let me know what you think. World Cuisine is a YouTube channel that usually live streams cooking videos, but this live stream is different. The live video shows the uploader demonstrating what he claims are his ki powers. In Chinese philosophy, ki is believed to be a life force or energy that flows through all living things. Some practitioners claim they can harness and control this energy, using it to perform supernatural feats. And in this video, which was originally live streamed on Chinese social media, has left viewers stunned. Several plastic bowls and other objects can be seen rattling around on the ground. Viewers watching the live stream accuse the man of using strings or wires to move the objects, but the man insists that it's his ki that is controlling them, nothing else. And to prove it, he does this. He walks around between the rattling objects with a long brush, demonstrating that there are no strings or wires, but viewers aren't totally convinced. A few shaking bowls isn't enough. They want to see something more impressive. So the man grabs a piece of paper, places it on the ground, and does this. After supposedly directing his key at the paper several times, it suddenly bursts into flames. Live viewers are shocked, but the man still has more to show them. He removes his hat and places it on the ground in front of the camera. It sits still for a moment, then starts flying up and down in the air. The live stream continues for around 55 minutes, and the objects keep moving and rattling the entire time. As new viewers join, the man demonstrates the lack of wires again. He runs a broom around between the objects, picks up chairs and moves them, even picks up one of the plastic bowls and turns it upside down, but nothing stops the rattling and movement. Toward the end of the live stream, viewers ask to see the fire trick again. Just like before, the man places the paper on the ground, points at it, and it bursts into flames. The video went viral on Chinese social media. Viewers compared what the man does to powers seen in Chinese martial arts films. Some believe this is genuine demonstration of supernatural key powers. Others remain skeptical, convinced there must be some kind of trick or explanation. But what do you think? Is this man really harnessing supernatural energy, or is there something else going on? Comment and let me know. Natalie Hopkins runs a social media account dedicated to investigating the paranormal, and recently she visited the Ross House in Bel Air, Ohio. The house was built back in 1895 near the banks of the Ohio River and the B&O Railroad, the oldest railroad in the United States. Over the years, the Ross House has gained a reputation for being extremely haunted. The house operates as a tourist attraction for people interested in the paranormal. Natalie decides to explore the basement, where the paranormal activity is said to be the strongest. She's down there with a few friends, hoping to capture evidence of ghosts. And then, something happens that leaves them all stunned.
Could you give us a sign if anyone is here? Maybe one of the balls, light them up.
Just after one of Natalie's friends asks if there are any spirits present and if they could give them a sign, the back of Natalie's sweater mysteriously moves, as if something grabbed it and pulled it. Natalie immediately feels it, spinning around to see what touched her, but there's nothing there. Natalie later uploaded the footage to her social media, calling the video "Spirit Caught on Camera." Clearly, she believes something paranormal was at play here. But what do you think happened to Natalie? Did a spirit pull on her top? Let me know. A Reddit user named Chosen12803 recently shared footage that was recorded by their sister back in 2020. And the OP's sister was working as a nurse at a hospital. Most of the other staff were busy dealing with quarantine patients, but the OP's sister was covering the night shift on a quiet ward, so she was essentially alone for most of her shift. In the middle of the night, she suddenly notices something strange. Her hair is blowing around as if there's a breeze coming from somewhere, but all the windows are closed and she's nowhere near an AC unit. Confused, she pulls out her phone and starts recording herself with her front-facing camera. But then, she notices something in the background of her screen that makes her freeze. Someone or something can be seen peeking around the corner behind her. At first, she doesn't fully process what she's seeing, but then it registers and she goes completely still. There's no one else in this part of the ward, and all her patients are already asleep. So who or what is this? Not daring to turn around, she watches it through her camera. Then this happens. The figure disappears, and after a moment, the woman gathers her courage. She keeps recording as she slowly walks down the empty corridor toward where the figure was standing. She reaches the end of the hallway, but there's nothing there. When her sister shared the footage on Reddit, viewers were genuinely creeped out. Several commenters say they've also experienced paranormal activity in hospitals. Some suggest it could be the spirit of a patient who recently passed away, still wandering the halls. Jamie Connolly recently moved into a new home with her husband and their baby. It should have been an exciting time, but almost immediately they started experiencing something disturbing. At night, Jamie claims she and her husband could hear what sounded like a woman crying. The sound seemed to come from outside, but every time they checked, there was nothing there. Determined to figure out what was happening, they installed a Ring doorbell camera. They hoped it might capture whatever was making those sounds, and late one night, the camera picked up something chilling. Jamie and her husband were jolted awake by a notification from the camera. It had detected motion, as if someone was standing at their door. A pale figure appears on the screen. It's visible for less than a second before it vanishes. Jamie's husband immediately got out of bed to check outside, but he couldn't see anything. Together, they watched the doorbell camera footage again and noticed something disturbing. The woman appears to be holding something. Jamie thinks it looks like a baby, and the woman's neck looks unsettlingly twisted. Jamie is now certain her home is haunted by the spirit of a woman who met a tragic end, and that this is her. But what do you think? Kuma Wicks recently moved to Columbus, Ohio, hoping to make a fresh start. Back at his old home in another part of the city, he believes he was being haunted. He thought moving away would solve the problem, but almost immediately after arriving in Columbus, the paranormal activity started again. Kuma began to suspect that whatever was haunting him had followed him. Just 3 days after moving in, he goes to a local community center with some friends, and that's when he captures something on camera that confirms his worst fears.
It was in the rafters, on the other side of the building.
A lone balloon can be seen floating through the community center. Some viewers suggested it might be the AC blowing it around, or maybe an open window, but Kuma insists that's not the case. It just drifts down the hallway, almost like it has a mind of its own, and it gets even creepier.
It is what in the Say faster.
It continued to get quicker and more aggressive.
If it comes towards us, I'm grabbing shit, we're dipping.
After Kuma and his friends turn their backs on the balloon and start walking away, it suddenly changes direction and appears to follow them. It trails behind them for several minutes and seems to be getting faster as they get more scared. In Kuma's own words, it becomes more aggressive.
There was no air in that. Dude, what the Why?
The balloon follows them all the way to the bottom of the stairwell. They think it will get stuck in the corner, unable to follow them any further. But then it somehow turns around and tries to follow them up the stairs. At this point, Kuma and his friends have had enough. They're too creeped out to stay any longer, and they leave the community centre immediately. Kuma believes the balloon was being controlled by whatever has been haunting him, and that the entity follows him wherever he goes. But what do you think? Was there really something paranormal happening here? Jack M203 lives by himself in a small house in Mexico. For weeks, he's been hearing strange noises outside his home at night, but every time he goes outside to investigate, there's nothing there. To figure out what's causing them, Jack installs a security camera in his backyard, and one night, the camera detects motion. Just above the clothesline, something that looks disturbingly like a face appears to be staring directly at the camera. Jack immediately turns on the outdoor light, and the face disappears. When the light goes back off, the face shows up again. Jack posted the footage to social media with the claim that he'd caught something paranormal on camera. So, is this what's been causing the creepy noises outside Jack's home? Or do you have a more logical explanation? During a thunderstorm in Istanbul, someone decided to record the dramatic lightning from their window. The storm is intense and enough to frighten just about anyone. But as the person records, they capture something more than just thunder and lightning. What appears to be a massive face takes shape in the storm clouds. The face looks like it has dark, sunken eyes and seems to be staring down at the city below. The footage was shared across Turkish social media and eventually featured on local news. Many viewers believe the face is a demon or an omen warning of a tragedy to come. Others aren't convinced. They think this is a simple case of pareidolia, the human brain's tendency to see faces in random patterns. Whatever the case, most viewers agree that the footage is pretty creepy. Apostle Jerry Mickle is a preacher based in the USA who regularly shares his sermons online. He often broadcasts live on Facebook, delivering his sermons to his followers around the world. His videos are usually straightforward. They're always focused on scripture and spiritual guidance, but during one particular live broadcast, something totally unexpected happened.
We need to start promoting the
Something white appears behind Mickle. It almost looks like mist or vapor, except there's nothing around that could be causing it. He notices it on his screen and goes completely silent. Viewers notice how calm he seems, almost like this sort of thing has happened before, or he expected it. When posting the clip to his Facebook page, he speculated that an angel had visited him during this live stream. But do you agree with Mickle? Is this an angel? Let me know. US 4.4 Life is a social media channel run by a mother of two from California. She usually posts content about everyday life in Long Beach, including tips on where to go for a day out with the kids or the best local shopping areas. But recently, she uploaded something very different. She explains that she's lived in her current home for 3 years, but very rarely goes up into the attic. It's difficult to access, requiring a ladder and crawling through a small door. Since it's empty, she decides to record a video of herself turning it into a storage room, but nothing goes to plan.
So I have this little room up in my attic and I want to show you guys what I found in here, but first Look at this. I've been up here 2 times. I've lived in this house for 3 years, and I've been here. This will be my 2nd time. And I started doing some picking up, but that's my house down there. And this is, so if you close the door, look how tiny it is. But look at the doorknob. It's literally a foot away from the ground. Look at that. Isn't that weird? Okay, so anyways, let me just open that up real quick. I found this little guy up here. He has like a little thing to put batteries, which I'm going to try and see if it works. That'll be so cool, but it's so old and dusty. And I found him back here in this hole. I covered it back up because it's a little scary, but it's full of things. Oh, what was that?
She starts exploring the attic room, recording its strange quirks for her viewers to see. As she's recording, she points the camera towards a large square hole in the wall. It's covered by cardboard, so she moves it aside and peers in. At first, we see nothing but darkness, but then there appears to be a small illuminated hole in the attic floor, and something is moving around. Creeped out, she immediately stopped recording and leaves the attic, but her viewers were hooked and wanted answers. So a few days later, she goes back up to investigate further.
All right, guys, real quick. This is the hole that leads up to the attic, that leads to the room that goes this way. So once you go up to the attic, the door is right here, and then the big room is here. And I don't have a drop down, so I've been using this 6-foot ladder to go up there. And I have to climb my way up the last half because I don't have a long enough ladder. But the intention was to go up there to put these things and use that as a closet upstairs. But anywho, let me show you that there's no holes on the ceilings real quick. So that's one. This is a room, and there's no holes up there, just this big hole that leads up to the attic. And then the living room, there's no holes. Okay, there's a room, there's a hole there, but that's a vent, so I mean it's you can't really see what was seen on the previous video. Plus, I was by myself. There was nobody in here. There was nobody walking around. This is the closet. And then there's one more. Let me show you guys. This is another room. Again, no holes in the ceilings. Another vent, but no like visible holes that you could see through. And then the closet, no holes, but there is a weird little door again. I don't know what's up with the weird little doors. That one's sealed. You can't open it. It's sealed. Let's go upstairs. We're up here already, and I got to the room, and I want to show you guys. I cleaned up a little bit, but to answer some of your questions, someone asked, what does this window lead to right next to the door? And I don't know. It's sealed, and there's like, yeah, it's just covered with siding. And then how did the furniture get up here? I'm assuming somebody built this up here. However, I don't know how this chair got up here. It's pretty big. I'm assuming right before they built the room, maybe they put it up here. I don't know. And then for the hole, there, as you can see, there's electricity. Oh, something else. These cables, these were all plugged in, and they go this way. Let me grab this light so I can show you guys. But let me go here. 1 second, because oh god. So the wires go all the way in here, and they're connected to something that just, there's more trash on this side of the house. See? Okay, so that's that side, right? The left side, but the right side. Let's go take a look at the right side real quick. It's so hot in here. Oh boy. Okay. So There's no mirrors. I know you guys were saying, oh, there's a mirror. There's no mirror. No holes. Just trash.
She walks around the house, showing that there are no holes in the ceiling below. Then she goes back upstairs, checking the attic floor. However, there are no visible holes anywhere. So, what exactly is this? Viewers offered several theories in the comments, each more terrifying than the last. Some think someone was living in her attic, and when she came back to record the second video, they covered the hole and went to hide. Others believe it's something paranormal, something that exists in the attic, but can't be explained. The young mother is understandably too scared to go back up into the attic, so we may never find out what was lurking up there. Now, a lot of my viewers in Southeast Asia sent in this next clip. It's creepy as f***, but I'm pretty sure it's not real. So I thought I'd include it as a little bonus. The clip was recorded somewhere in Indonesia by a woman who supposedly goes to check out her new apartment at night. Yeah, at night. And weirdly, there's no power. But as she's travelled quite far to get there, she doesn't want to waste the trip and heads inside. What she records, well, is just plain creepy.
يا بنات لا تناموا بطونكم فاضية، أنا صحيت جوعانة وأحس بطني راح يلصق بظهري من الجوع.
The dark figures of a woman and a group of children are gathered around a table in the kitchen. Then they all turn and look at her with glowing eyes, and the woman screams before fleeing in absolute fear. Hey, I just want to say a thank you for watching this video, and if you want to watch more videos just like this one, then here's some which you will like. You can click on any of them, and I'll see you in the next one.